Hi, I'm Crystal Hurd, and welcome to my channel, That Lewis Lady. Now today we are going to talk about what can be a controversial topic, depending on who you're talking to, and that is e-readers. Now, several years ago when the Amazon Kindle came out, people were scared, very, very scared, that the print book, the physical book, would completely diminish and be non-existent. And that was kind of the expectation. But here in the last little while, especially with things like manga and special editions of books with sprayed edges and different editions, the print book has rallied in the last few quarters of the fiscal year. So there's actually been a huge surge in physical books. Now, like any other English major book nerd, I love physical books. But there was a time where I had so many in my house that it was overwhelming me. I had so much. They were just stacked and double stacked and stacked sideways and stacked backwards. They were everywhere. So I started feeling that the books owned me, that I didn't own the books. So my husband suggested that I get a Kindle. Now this was several years ago, my first way to react was, oh gosh, no, don't get that Kindle. That takes the place of the physical book. And then I realized, actually, you know what? There's so much stuff here that it might be better if I get one. And then I kind of have all of them in one place. So I'm coming today to talk to you about e-readers. I have two. And I'm here to talk about why I think e-readers are a good choice. I still love physical books. Caveat, let me put that out there. I still love my physical books. I will always have my physical books. I'm an annotator. I love to write in the margins and highlight and do all that stuff. So when I talk about my Kindle Scribe, I'm going to sort of talk about how the stuff, especially the AI tools and stuff that they now have for the Scribe, kind of scratches that itch for me. Here's 3 reasons why I think an e-reader is pretty great. Okay. Number 1 is convenience. Convenience means that I can take my huge chunk of my library and I can have it anywhere. If I'm in a doctor's appointment and I'm waiting in the waiting room, or I'm waiting for people to show up, or I'm on planning at my job because I'm a teacher, I'm a public school teacher during the day. So if I'm sitting around waiting, I have all my books with me. I have tons of books. I have like over 3,000 books on my Kindle. A lot of them were free or very, very cheap, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the convenience thing was really important to me because I'm a mood reader. Okay, just because I have a book doesn't mean I feel like reading it that day. If I have a fantasy book, I may feel like I want to read literary fiction or nonfiction. So being able to have that ease of access is really great. So I can pull out my Kindle and say, you know what, I'm really not feeling that book I started yesterday, so maybe I'll switch to something else. And yes, I'm one of those people who read promiscuously, as Karen Pryor likes to say. So sometimes I have 2 or 3 books going at once, and I don't know, it makes sense in my brain, but it's really interesting because I like having all those. The ease of access really works for me, and I like having all that. Another nice thing about convenience is somebody who does a lot of research. I love to use C.S. Lewis books on my Kindle to do word searches. It really helps. It cuts hours out of my research time because I'm able to, if I know 2 or 3 words from the quote, I can go in and type it, and then boom, it appears, instead of me having to go through every physical book and look through all my annotations and all my notes. It really cuts down. And when, as someone who teaches dual enrollment, which is like college level English in my job, I usually tell kids, if you can find a PDF of your book, then you can word search it. So when you are writing papers or writing an analysis, you can find that quote and you don't have to search and search and search for 20, 30 minutes for it. So convenience is definitely a plus with an e-reader. Love it so much. And if you do have a Scribe, and I do want to mention this, if you do have a Scribe, you have a notebook function here, and a pen. It comes with all this stuff. Now, this is a first generation Scribe. Let me say that up front. When I found out they were making a Kindle that you can write on, I pre-ordered that day. And yes, it was $400. I did a switch. I traded in a Kindle. I got a discount, so I didn't have to pay the full amount. But when I was looking at, all the things it can do, I was really, really pleased that you were able to highlight on here, that you could write notes. Now, when I got the Kindle, and then I realized, it actually doesn't write in the book. It just puts a little teeny tiny superscript note, and then you have to click the note. That was kind of a no for me. So I really wasn't using this very much to do a lot of notes, because I didn't want these teeny tiny little sticky note things all over my book. However, scribe people rejoice. With the new scribe that just came out in December, you're actually able to write on the physical page, and it puts it right there in the text. And I didn't want to pay another $400 to upgrade my Kindle, so I just sauntered on. And then they released an update for first generation scribes, which now means that you can also write with your pen on the book, and it actually puts your handwriting in the text, which is awesome. I just downloaded that update the other day, and it's amazing. It works great. So I love that. The notebook feature is really good. I actually have some notes for this show on here. It's really nice. It saves all your notebooks. Everything's in one place. So if you make notes about a book, they're all here. Everything is saved. It's really all in one device, which makes it really great. So yeah, I have the scribe. I also have, this is my, now I'm a big fan of the Paperwhite. This is the signature Paperwhite, and I'm not really big on tons of features. I just like to read on it. There is a color version. I didn't want to pay $300 for, covers that had color on them. It wasn't that worth that much to me, but this is 32 gig, and I needed 32 gig because my other Paperwhite was 8 gig, and I ran out of space. It was moving slow. So I traded that in and just bit the bullet and got a signature because it has 32 gig of space, and I need 32 gig of space because I love books. So anyway, these two are great. I actually have this one because it's portable and I can take it in my purse. I do not buy purses or pocketbooks unless they accommodate my Kindle. That is hashtag nerd shopping right there, when you basically make all your accessories work around your e-reader. That's the level I'm at. It's fine. So that is a really great convenient thing that I love about it. Another great thing about convenience, and then I'll move on to the second point. Last year, I didn't realize until this happened, but last year I was diagnosed with a very rare eye condition. And in the spring, almost a year ago, both of my retinas detached. And so I had to go in and have gas bubble surgery on my right eye and then lasers on my left eye. So I went part of the year not being able to see very well because I had patches over this eye and I was getting lasered and my eyes were readjusting. So what's nice about the Kindle, and again, I love my paper copies, my physical copies, but what I love about the Kindle is I can make the font bigger, because after my eye surgery, I've had to use reading glasses a lot more. The right eye, this is just happens when you have gas bubble surgery. My right eye is developing a cataract, so it's harder to read. So it's easier for me to just use this, blow the font up a little bit bigger, and then I can read much easier on the Kindle. So here's my second point. The second point is that it saves space. Now, I was mentioning earlier that the books were owning me and I wasn't owning the books, and that was completely happening. I was so overwhelmed with books. And then I realized that sometimes I was just buying them because they were cheap or because somebody mentioned it or recommended it. And I just didn't have enough time because I have to, have a job and a family, and, it's a lot. So I said, well, maybe I need to be more picky about what I do read. But I actually started in about middle of 2020 taking books and selling them to a used bookstore and not walking out with any. That was my rule. You can take them in, but you can't bring them back out. So I couldn't, even if I did receive, credit, trade credit, I usually took cash. If they offered me a little bit of trade credit, I took it, but I have several yellow tickets upstairs of trade credit where I said, I'm not going to put anything in here. I'm just going to take them, sell them, wish them well, Marie Kondo that stuff, and get it out of here so that I can have a little bit more breathing space, because there was a lot. And in my house, I have a main big bookcase in my office, which is mainly Lewis and Tolkien and, the Inklings work. But I also have a few smaller bookcases that have the classics, that have some of my favorite writers on them. I also have some signed editions that were signed to me. In 2022, I met Lauren Groff, who's one of my favorite writers, and she signed a book to me, personalized Matrix, a copy of Matrix to me, and that book will always be with me. I'll probably be buried with it. I love that book. And she was marvelous, by the way, a great person. So with more and more people living in apartments, with the housing market the way it is, a lot of people, aren't getting as much house for their money as they used to, because everything is increasing exponentially. It's just crazy. So, you may have roommates. You may be living with parents or living with family still, and you may not have that much space. So what's great about a Kindle, like I said, I've got 3,000 books on this thing, and I can pull them up, summon them up at any moment. It's really nice. I can read at night, and like I have that choice. There's so many good possibilities with it, so I really do enjoy mine, and I highly recommend it. But if you are a person who wants to reclaim some of that space back, you can. Now, everybody wants one of those Beauty and the Beast libraries. We all did growing up as kids. We didn't really care about the love story. We just wanted more library shots. Everybody wanted that. But, they lived in a castle. Most of us don't have that kind of square footage where we live. So, while that's great and awesome, and so many people here on YouTube have awesome libraries set up in their house, not everybody has that type of room. So if that's a concern that you have, that's one thing that the Kindle or the e-reader can help you with. So my final point is it can save money as well. Now, as most of you know, ebooks are usually cheaper than physical books. If you go to a bookstore, you're going to spend probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 for a hardback, somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 or a little less for a paperback. That is a lot of money. And like I said, the economy is what it is. So more people are being pickier, or looking for sales, or buying used, or going to places like a book outlet, right, and purchasing those books. So one of the things that I really love about my e-reader is that there are plenty of places you can get deals. I'll give you a couple quick examples, and I'll link them below. BookBub is a place that sends a daily email. Early Bird Books also sends you a daily email. They will ask you when you sign up what the genres you enjoy are, and so you get to choose those, select those, and then every day it will send you an email with deals on the books for that day. Also, if you are an Amazon user, okay, this only applies to Amazon because I'm only using this based off of my experience, but Amazon has Kindle daily deals, Kindle weekly deals, and Kindle rewards. So the Kindle rewards program is basically where every time you buy a book, it could be a physical book or an ebook, you get points, and those points will add up. For every 300 points that you accumulate, you get $3 off any ebook you want. Now, if you were also signed up for the Kindle daily deals, they'll send you an email every day that says, here are the books that are for sale today. And so you will scroll through there. If you see something you like, a lot of times the books are $2.99. So if you have a $3 credit waiting on you in the Kindle Rewards program, you can pay $0 for that book. And what's great is that some of them are backlist, but you'll be surprised how many new releases show up, especially during big holidays, Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving. This past time I spent a lot of money on ebooks, but they were way cheaper than if I would have purchased them in a bookstore. So usually every big holiday, or if there's a big push, there's Prime Days, there's usually a huge selection of really recent releases that are discounted to $2.99, $3.99, $4.99. So you can get the same book you would have purchased at Books A Million or your local bookstore for $30, and you can get it for $3 or $5. So in my mind, in my girl math, I would say I saved $25 by doing that. So, and again, if you're like me and you feel overwhelmed and you don't have a lot of the time to read, it does help you to have an option where you can get these books cheap and you don't have to sell a kidney or put your pet on the black market or something to afford your book addiction. It's really nice, like I said, for me, going back to the other points, because not only can I get a book that was published 2 or 3 months ago, I can get it on here, I can read it anywhere I want, and I can mark it up if I want to. So I really like the ease of the use of an e-reader. To me, it for some reason also helps me read quicker. I know that sounds bizarre, but other people on YouTube have also said this. Because you're just digitally flipping through the pages, it seems like books pass quicker. You don't have to carry them around, like usually I'm really bad about, used to shoving a book in my book bag and then getting it squished by something. But now that I have this little thing, I'm able to just stick it in my purse and go, and I have access to it. It's great because if you are reading on one Kindle, it will whisper sync to the other one. So wherever I stopped, if I'm reading this one at night, for example, and then I stop and then the next day I open this one, it will open to where I paused the night before. It's really great. And there are just really nice features that you can do with that as they continue to do updates. So, to each his own. I'm not a person who's going to judge you by how you want to read or how you do access those. I'm a person who believes if it's an audiobook, an ebook, a physical book, whatever, just enjoy story, because story is awesome. Story is amazing. It ignites our imaginations. It's an escape from a lot of the crazy things that are happening in the world. And sometimes you just want to just escape into a good book and forget everything, and that's totally fine. So this is a chance to give you some ease of access to those stories and hopefully save you some money too, if that's a concern for you as well. So anyway, that is all I have today. So I hope you have enjoyed it and you may consider it. I have talked a few people into buying an e-reader over the years. Amazon, if you're listening, I'm trying to help you out on the e-reader situation. Just kidding. No, not really. But if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. And I would love to hear what you think about using e-readers. Until next time, see ya.